Greetings comic lovers and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from reviews of comics new and old, to history, to anecdotes, to really wherever our whims take us. 3 Jokers. Oh man, it's been 84 years. But that is actually not this comic's fault. Let's backtrack, because for all of this to make sense, you're gonna have to know how we got to 3 Jokers in the first place. So how we got here is something that I will never forget, because it's tied to a plot point that will make me laugh until the end of time. So during the New 52, right at the tail end, during the Darkseid War arc, which occurred in 2016 and happened for the majority in the Justice League comics. During this event, Batman would find himself sitting in Metron's chair, which caused him to have omniscience for a time. And he would not get out of this chair. I'm never getting out of this chair. Hal had to give him his ring, or like force it onto him, for him to be able to will himself out of the chair. And there's this other great panel of Batman investigating in the chair and Hal sitting next to him in a construct chair. Hal and Bruce would still snipe at each other during the New 52, but they were also bizarrely close, at least comparatively to how they had been depicted within recent years at the time that was coming out. And I was 100% here for it. Chair besties for life. In fact, it's when Hal goes to check on Bruce in the Batcave to see how he's doing after everything, we get the reveal that while Batman was in the chair, he asked it the Joker's true identity, and he reacted in horror, going, "That's impossible. No, it's not true. It's not possible." That's because, as he later tells Hal, the chair told him that there are 3 Jokers. Dun dun dun. This revelation was met with a variety of reactions at the time. Some were excited and loved the idea and were curious what that would mean. Was there a different Joker for each era? Different men? Like, what's up with that? It's time to shake up the status quo, to expand the lore. Others felt the whole concept was an unnecessary exploration of a meta truth that as a reader you just kind of tacitly accept, that the Joker has changed over time for a lot of reasons, because of editorial mandates, shift in tone, and also just to match the Batman that he's facing. The idea that the Joker's backstory is multiple choice, and that while there may be some stories that are more accepted, ultimately it's better to not pin it down. And some felt that the idea of 3 Jokers also weakened the connection that Batman has to the Joker, because, I mean, it's not the same if there are 3 dudes. This elicited concerns as to whether this story would be canon or not, which would be a journey in and of itself. There was an answer given on September 27th of 2019, or at least a quasi-answer. This is in the form of a tweet from the artist working on the series, Jason Fabok, who stated this in response to a fan's slightly salty question. And by slightly salty, I mean it had an insult in it. Not towards him, but towards Jeff Johns. It's in continuity like Killing Joke is. You can take it or leave it. We're going to introduce some pretty gutsy stuff in Jokers that's never been done before, so the fans can react to it, and they can decide if they want it part of main continuity or not, like Killing Joke. 2 things. One actually can't really take or leave the Killing Joke, because it was implemented into canon. And while fan response to it at the time was largely positive, well, that doesn't mean that for people who didn't like it, they enjoyed it being made canon. So whatever happens, you kind of just gotta sit there and take it. In canon, after the Killing Joke, Barbara was paralyzed, and while I loved everything that came of that, vis-a-vis Oracle and her character growth and the new Batgirls and the complicated relationship with Huntress, the founding of the Birds of Prey, everything, and felt that it more than outweighed the fact that she had been shot in a Batman book and that the Joker stripped her naked to pose her, not everyone felt that way. And for those that didn't, they were thrilled by, for example, the New 52, when Barbara regained the use of her legs, even though other people found that to be extremely insulting. No matter what you do, you're never gonna make everybody happy. Some felt that the return of her legs was not only disrespectful to the disabled community, who had been looking up to her and felt that she was positive representation, but also a rehash of the Bane plot. But again, that's gonna vary from person to person. It's gonna depend upon when you came to it, your subject positioning, geography, if you felt the Killing Joke was overhyped, which honestly, if I'd read it today, I probably would, because when I read it, yeah, people said you should read it, but it wasn't like, oh my god, you need to read it. And on the flip side, it wasn't like, oh my god, you have to hate it. I'm a strong, independent woman who don't need no correct opinion. Tell me what you think. That's part of the fun of being a fan, sharing different opinions, and they don't always have to coincide, and it's okay. It'll be alright. Ultimately, this book, The 3 Jokers, ended up being released under the DC Black Label imprint. So it's leaning towards Elseworld status, or seems to be at the time of this recording. And there's another reason for that. Yes, I said 2019. This tweet came out in 2019. But Sasha, didn't you say that Darkseid War was wrapping up in 2016? Why, yes I did. So why the gap? Well, Doomsday Clock happened. So the Doomsday Clock, which was written by Jeff Johns, as is the 3 Jokers, began in 2017. It contains 12 issues and was a maxi series. It was supposed to come out monthly over the span of a year. And at the end of it, the 3 Jokers was going to be released. released because what happened in Doomsday Clock was going to pave the way canonically and continuity-wise for that to make sense. Or so they said. However, the Doomsday Clock ended up being finished in 2019. Oh yes, delays up the wazoo. Mostly art delays. The art on this took forever. Like it was the 90s or something. And also there's some shifting internal politics, and some feel that affected the Doomsday Clock because it was so tied to what was going to happen canonically in the future, allegedly. So many feel that the ending the Doomsday Clock actually ended up with isn't the ending it was initially supposed to have. The ending showcases a bunch of different canons and continuities and potential timelines for the future, like, oh, maybe DC Marvel crossover. I'm a Sasquatch today. Why am I such a Sasquatch? It's because I live in Canada. So 3 Jokers had to wait until the Doomsday Clock was done to be released. Although, again, a tweet by the same artist states that there were some delays on that front because, well, he was taking his time to make it perfect. I mean, when you have that many delays, why not? On September 26th, he stated, "Finishing up a page that's taken me days to complete, but it's worth it. Batman 3 Jokers is my love letter to you, the Batman fans. You deserve the best, and I want to give you my best. Here's a sneak peek at a panel. I absolutely love drawing Batgirl." And the art in this is really solid. If the art is a love letter, well then, I accept. I will go to prom with you. So 3 Jokers will focus on, well, the 3 Jokers, and also 3 individuals most affected by them. Bruce, Jason, and Barbara. Dick's shoulder wound and its subsequent firing don't count. Take that, Dick. Also, Dick killing him and then Bruce bringing him back to life, that doesn't count either. Yes, that happened. So at the time of this recording, the month is August 2020. 3 Jokers issue 1 is here, and we're gonna take a look at it. And because it's actually something topical, I guess I will say spoilers, which if you've been here for a while, you know that we live in the spoilers. We eat them, we're made of them. But before we get started, yes, all of that was the cold open. I'm Sasha, and if you're enjoying this content, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're so inclined, hit that join button and come along on this crazy comic book journey. There are 3 Jokers. Our cover is one of the 3 Jokers, this one wielding a bloody crowbar, indicating that he is the one that killed Jason, one of the most heinous and infamous Joker acts. Even people who don't read comics or dabble too much in adaptation, many tend to be aware of the Jason Joker crowbar incident, even though I maintain that it was the warehouse blowing up that killed him. Although then somebody commented, wouldn't he have suffocated because of the rubble? So many ways that Jason can die. At the time of this recording, there's also an adaptation that they've released where it's like a choose your own adventure and you can choose for Jason to die again. Poor Jason. Batman, 3 Jokers. Aw, there's a dedication to the artist's grandfather. That's sweet. The opening few panels are very cinematically laid out, as they would be if you were to adapt it. Like you can imagine these slow pans, zooms, crawls that would be required. We go from the Wayne family graves to Batman crashing the Batmobile into the headstone, staggering out injured and slowly making his way towards the manor. All without any dialogue. It's conveying an atmosphere, which is dark and oppressive. You can almost hear the rain, like you can always hear the trucks driving by my window. Time heals all wounds, if they don't kill you first. I see that Johns is trapped in Rorschach's journal narration, because that was the first thing I thought of when I read that sentence. August 2020, time heals all wounds, Rorschach's journal. You get some really nice shots of the Batcave here, and I'm both impressed and disturbed by the full costume cases set up for his villains. Is this why the Riddler and others have to change their costumes because Batman is stealing them and putting them in his cave? Is that why Catwoman has so many costumes? Every time he hates one, he just goes yoink. He's planning a fashion show. It's a tie-in to that Harley Quinn black, white, and red issue. I'm a big fan of how much is shown and not told here. Like the sequence of Alfred cutting off the bat suit. It shows strong control over the medium to be able to do that. Not enough people take advantage of that aspect of storytelling. And so sometimes you end up with those comics where there are just walls of text, so much so that you feel like you're reading a light novel or just an illustrated children's book. What was it this time? An umbrella. So we see the litany of scars that cover Bruce's body, which yes, makes me question how he keeps up his playboy persona. Does he just pretend he has a kink, like he's a never nude, he never takes anything off? You can only say you've had so many skiing accidents. We get panels showing injuries with a black and white panel beside them displaying how each injury was received. And as it goes on, more and more of them are seen to be the result of the Joker. And would it be any kind of Batman story if we didn't get a flashback to the night his parents were killed? I mean, it would be, because we all know, but it feels like every single author or artist likes to put their own spin on it. And I mean, it is the defining event, so we get to see it again. One more time. Another one. That was the greatest film ever made. Ah, The Mark of Zorro. Totally banned in the Wayne household. You gotta watch the Antonio Banderas version or GTFO. So we see his parents killed again before the killer, Joe Chill, freezes and can't kill Bruce, disappearing into the night. With the narration box cleverly proclaiming, This wound is deeper than the others, over the close-up panel of young Bruce Wayne crying. But Bruce in the present isn't paying attention. He's listening to a news report. The last members of the Moxon crime family have been executed, and it appears they have been killed by the Joker, who is waging a chaos war on organized crime. Sorry, war of chaos. That doesn't make it any better. Also, Chaos War sounds like an awesome sci-fi book series. The Moxons matter in this canon for being accused of setting up a hit on Thomas and Martha Wayne, but they were exonerated when Joe Chill claimed he worked alone. The Joker's true name remains unknown. Now we start to get labels attached to our Jokers. Number 1. The criminal. We then cut to Barbara running as fast as she can on a treadmill, as she builds up to flashing back on her incident with the Joker, him coming to her house, shooting her in the spine, and temporarily crippling her. As she runs, the newsfeed before her tells her that the Joker has murdered a prominent comedian and activist, Kalani Apaka. He used to perform his stand-up in an oversized bat suit. You'll see that all the crimes are in some way vigilante or Batman based. Oh, also, she went so hard she broke the treadmill, and they're like, another one. I guess she just reimburses and pays for them because they seem pretty chill about the fact that she's just burning through their treadmills. I would just assume she's a Flash. I appreciate the sentiment and thematically it works, but just the fact that she broke it, it's a bit too much. Also, the recreations of the panels from The Killing Joke are really on point. 2. The comedian. Jason is fighting some Joker goons, or hooligans, with Joker tattoos down in a cemetery. There's been a third Joker sighting, this one over at Ace Chemicals. This Joker appears to have killed author Roger Huntoon at Arkham, who was found in a janitor's closet with a rubber chicken shoved down his throat. The author had written a book condemning the costumed community, hero and villain alike. The book suggested that masks allowed the wearer to be divorced from their actions, causing them to become more brutal than they would otherwise have been. Darker, edgier. It shows my age that I instantly flashed to a The Mask reference. We all wear masks, metaphorically speaking. He proposed that the endless trauma has, in his words, created a cycle of costume savagery between the good guys and the bad guys, leaving them virtually indistinguishable. While this has gone on, the goons have managed to get Jason's helmet off, and they've pinned him down and they're about to start beating him, which has caused him to flash back to his death at the warehouse, or rather the crowbar attack leading up to it. Jason manages to get them off of him with more force than was strictly necessary, because there is of course a reason that that is the caption that is playing over Jason, just as there's a reason that the comedian was the one that played over Barbara. It's all parallels. Things that pertain to them will make them think of their Joker. Number 3, the clown. There are 3 victims over at the Ace Chemical plant, all dressed like the Red Hood. The guise the Joker was wearing when he became the Joker in the Killing Joke version of his origin, and an outfit that dates even further back to a previous origin which inspired that one, where he was a famous thief called the Red Hood before he became the Joker. 3 crime scenes, 3 Jokers. What's it all mean? The police are trying to figure out which crime was committed by the real Joker, but Batman doesn't have time to deign to talk to them. Instead, he focuses on talking to Barbara as they try and figure out what's going on, because Batgirl has also arrived on the scene. This is where he fell, isn't it? This is where the Joker was born. I love this version of her costume so much. Yellow cape lining for the win. Batgirl figures that the 3 Jokers wanted to be seen on purpose. Also, they note that one of the chemical vats is empty and a tanker truck is missing. As they ponder what the Joker could want it for, they make the chilling discovery that one of his victims has survived. Help me.
I'll escort them to the hospital on the way to the comedian's crime scene. Batgirl, do you need a ride?
I've got one, thanks. Aw, let your dad give you a ride. You know you wanna. He worries. Batman tells her she doesn't actually need to come on this case, but she insists that she does.
When we were leaving, your father gave me a disapproving look. Does he know you're Batgirl?
Of course not.
Okay, he's only the police commissioner, a detective, and your dad who's watched you grow up from when you were a baby.
How could he possibly know? There are no clues.
Sometimes parents know things and they just let it go because they're waiting for you to tell them. Respect and boundaries.
However, inside the ambulance, things are getting violent because Jason is interrogating the suspect in there quite harshly. Babs pops a tire on the ambulance to stop it, and we get more panels just setting things up. These ones showing the Joker driving the stolen tanker in the forest and coming up to a cabin in the woods. And he is greeted by another Joker at the door, this one dressed like the Joker from The Killing Joke. Batman is administering the antidote to the person in the ambulance, and what is Jason wearing? Oh right, it's the uniform that he stole to get into the ambulance. That's a weird look with the domino mask. Babs gets into it with Jason, who tells her that their survivor also had
a huge rap sheet and that she should save her sympathy for someone who deserves it. But Bruce breaks it up by telling them that they all need to work together, especially since the Joker clearly is. Hands up to everyone else who finds Babs and Jason's relationship rife with potential for exploration, especially with stuff like this when it comes to their different but shared trauma surrounding the Joker. Meanwhile, the head Joker, who appears to be the first iteration of the Joker from the 1940s, has begun to outline their plan.
We do what we always do. We try to make a better Joker. One of you will help me set up the factory, while the others will help with our casting call. It's time the Joker had more meaning.
The Bat family meanwhile arrives in an aquarium, courtesy of Jason's detective work.
Hey, when are you gonna fix these seats? Every single Batmobile I've ever been in, the passenger seat is too small. It's like you really don't want anyone sitting here. You're projecting, Jason.
Also, dang, Jason's looking tight. I see you. The aquarium is of course reminiscent of the famed Laughing Fish episode of Batman. And I say episode, not story, because the ending of that comic book story, the whole shark attack and stuff, actually comes from a different Joker story. In Batman issue 251, where the Joker returned after nearly a decade-long hiatus, and he returned on an opening kill to signal that he was back and dangerous, and that the Silver Age was well and truly dead. Also, Joker Shark is always a cool look. Look at this panel. You know I'll never turn down Batman fighting a shark and hopefully punching it in the face. They get set upon by a bunch of Joker's goons led by Gaggy, who is a henchman the Joker has not used for a long time. So long, in fact, that Jason doesn't even know who it is. Not exactly the cream of the crop. I mean, they're trying their best. Do you think henchmen go home and cry about stuff like that? Or I guess go to jail and cry about stuff like that? That and the fact that they're now going to prison? The shark is loose, yes! And it gets Gaggy. It's deep blue sea all over again. While the tank did contain some of the chemicals stolen from the Ace chemical plant, it wasn't all of it. And there is a Joker at this aquarium, and he attacks. And he's got untrademarked fish. Get him! This is the Joker who killed Jason.
Let's get that pesky mask off. I want to see your eyes again. Those tears. That fear.
Batman and Babs managed to get him off of Jason.
That's him, isn't it?
That's the Joker? Batman. Bruce nicely turns a blind eye while Jason kicks the Joker a bit, but Batman has to go to Gordon because he thinks they've got the second Joker pinned down, so he leaves this Joker with Babs and Jason to await an Arkham transport, because what could go wrong with that? They're both totally fine with the Joker. There are no unresolved issues there at all, especially not for Jason. The Joker starts giving Jason grief, specifically his moniker, questioning him as to why he took the red hood on as his name.
I took it because I'm owning what you did to me. You made me this. I'll be your destruction. Put the gun down. But he's right. Nothing is gonna change until we break this cycle. Batman wouldn't do this. But Batman isn't here, is he, darling?
The Joker slowly but surely starts to break Jason down.
Maybe I beat you to a bloody mess. I took you right to the edge. Because I wanted to leave you alive. Because he's all that matters, not you. Never you. Do you recall what you said to me while I was breaking your head in with that crowbar? Because I cherish those words. Please stop, please. I'll be your Robin. And look at you now, my little Red Hood, shooting up people and making Batman's life miserable. You are my Robin.
That's too much for Jason, and he takes the shot. Barbara tries to stop him, but misses.
What the hell did you do? I didn't want this. Really? When's the last time you missed, Barbara?
Screw you, Jason. Man, I hope that's the right one. End issue 1. Okay, I ended up liking this way more than I thought I was going to. I was definitely one of the wary people when I heard 3 Jokers, but so far this has me interested. And I love the art and also the sparser dialogue. It makes what is said have more impact. Though I can also see some feeling that there is too little dialogue and too many cinematic storyboard style panels that could amount to wasted time. Though we'll have to see how it ends up to see if we needed those extra panels for more explanation or character development or something. I will say that a story like this, with this kind of subtle meta aura hanging over it, works better as an Elseworlds for me. I don't need this to impact canon. In fact, I feel like there should be more Elseworlds to self-contained exploratory stories. I've had stories that I've really enjoyed mess up canon for years. Although I've seen the opposite as well. Although for some people, those are the stories that they feel messed up canon for years. So it really varies from person to person. If this did impact canon, I would wait and see how it turned out. But as it stands, I would love for this just to be a self-contained, its own universe type of thing. Which it may be, time of recording. There were lots of little aspects of this comic I liked, and it was clearly thought through about what it was doing and how it presented itself and the characters. The characters all feel like they have a lot of depth and potential and lots to be explored. I mean, when you get pushed that far past your release date, you have time to think about things. I really liked the Jason Joker conversation. It was really chilling. And even though Jason never said anything like that in the original story, I can make that reach and believe that he could have, because it's such a perfect, sad, hurtful thing. It hurts like a crowbar to the head. Again, I'm intrigued where this is going. I hope it doesn't just head to Meander City or over philosophizing town. Color me pleasantly surprised. But that's just me. What did you think? Is this story trying way too hard? Is the timing bad and there's just too much Joker everywhere for you? And please stop. One was too many, not three. Let me know your thoughts down below. And while you're down there, please do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day to spend it discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.